Hi everyone, I am Tandav Murthy and Physics Department, Alvas College. I am going to take work per energy today. We'll go for the first question. A particle moving in the xy plane undergoes a displacement of s is equal to 2i cap plus 3j cap, while a constant force F vector is equal to 5i cap plus 2j cap Newton act on the particle. The work done by the force F is. We know that work done is nothing but the dot product of F and S. So I can write W is equal to F dot S, and in that F is given as 5i cap plus 2j cap, 5i cap plus 2j cap, dot S is given as 2i cap plus 3j cap. And that's why if you take the dot product, I'm going to get 5 into 2, 10, plus 3 into 2, 6. So work done will be 16 joules. So I'll go for the option C. When uranium-238 nucleus, originally at rest, decays by emitting alpha particle, say with speed v meter per second, the recoil speed of the residual nucleus is. So we know that when uranium undergoes decay, it forms it will give out helium nucleus. Along with that, thorium will be given out. Thorium-90 and 234 will be given. And so the velocity of the alpha particle is given as alpha v, and I want to find out what is the speed of the residual nucleus. For this, we have to use the conservation of momentum. Initially, this uranium was at rest, and that's why initial momentum is 0. That is equal to final momentum will be, it is, I'll write helium nucleus is moving with the velocity of v, its mass is 4, so 4 into v, and this thorium nucleus I want to find out, and its mass is 234, and its velocity, let me call it as v dash. And I want to find out the velocity v dash, and that's why v dash will be equal to minus 4 into v divided by 234. So I'll go for the option A itself. A spring of force constant 800 Newton per meter has an extension of 5 centimeter. The work done in extending it from 5 centimeter to 15 centimeter is. We know that the energy stored in the spring, we know that it is half k into x2 square minus x1 square I can write. So this is half, k is given as 800 Newton per meter, x2 is 15 centimeter it is given, so 15 square minus x1 is 5 square, and it should be converted into meter, so it is 10 to power minus 4. So if you simplify, you are going to get, it is 8 joules you are going to get. So I'll go for option B. We'll go for the fourth question. The work done in stretching spring of constant K from length L1 to L2. So already very similar to previous problem. So work done will be equal to, it is half K, and final is L2 and initial is L1. So it is a L2 square minus a L1 square. So I'll go for the option B. Question number 5. If the force acting on a body is inversely proportional to its velocity, kinetic energy acquired by the body in time t is proportional to. See, when a body is moving with certain velocity, its kinetic energy will be half mv square, and whatever the work is done by the force will be stored as or appear as the kinetic energy itself, and that's why I can write it is given force is inversely proportional to velocity. Force is inversely proportional to velocity, it is given. Kinetic energy I want to find out. Kinetic energy is nothing but the work done. So I can write work done is nothing but it is force into displacement, and force is inversely proportional to velocity is given. So it is x divided by v. But we know that v is nothing but displacement divided by time taken, we know. So x and x cancels, so work done, or that is nothing but the kinetic energy will be proportional to t. So I'll go for option number B. Second option I'll go for. Question number 6. The engine of a truck moving along a straight road delivers constant power the distance traveled by the truck in time t is proportional to. Here it delivers a constant power it is given, and we know that power is nothing but the work done or energy per time, and that's why energy is, when it is moving, it is nothing but kinetic energy. So I'll go for power is equal to half mv square divided by time I can write. And so it is given, power is constant, it is given, so P is equal to half V, it is proportional to V square divided by T I can write. And so V is nothing but x divided by T whole square divided by T is equal to power, it is a constant, and so I can write this power is proportional to x square divided by t cube I can write, and I want to find out what is the distance traveled, and so x square is proportional to t cube, or x is proportional to t to power 3 by 2. So I'll go for option D. Question number 7. When the kinetic energy of a body is increased 3 times, then the momentum increases by. We know that the kinetic energy is equal to momentum square divided by 2m we have, and kinetic energy is increased 3 times. So K is proportional to P square I can write. So K2 by K1 will be equal to P2 divided by P1 whole square I can write, and kinetic energy is increased 3 times, so it is 3K1 divided by K1 is equal to P2 divided by P1 whole square I can write, and so K1 cancels, so P2 by P1 will be equal to root of 3, root 3 is nothing but 1.732. And so momentum, new momentum will be 1.732 into P1. So it will be increased to 1.732 times. So I'll go for option B. Question number 8. Two bodies of masses 2m and m have their kinetic energy in the ratio 8:1. What is the ratio of their momenta? So we know that momentum is equal to square root of 2mk. And so I can write P2 by P1, or P1 by P2 is equal to square root of M1 by M2 into K1 by K2 I can write, and M1 is given as 2M, M2 is given as M, and K1 is to K2 is given as 8:1. So M cancels, root of 16 it becomes 4. So P1 by P2 is 4, or P1 is to P2 will be equal to 4:1. So I'll go for option B. Question number 9. The potential energy of a system increases if work is done. We know that the conservative force will be equal to minus du divided by dx itself. So whenever the work is done on the system, this is what is the equation. So that is why I can go for option D. Work is done upon the system by a conservative force. So I'll go for option D. Question number 10. A metallic wire of length L extends by small l meter when stretched by suspending a weight mg from it. The mechanical energy stored in the wire is. So initially the length was L, and it is stretched by small l by suspending a weight mg, and what is the mechanical energy stored? So mechanical energy stored will be equal to force is mg, and L is the extension of the thread, and also whenever it is stretched, the center of gravity will be pushed by half, and that's why it is mgl by 2. So I'll go for option C. Question number 11. A particle moves under the effect of a force F is equal to Cx from x is equal to 0 to x is equal to x1. Work done in the process is. We know that work done is nothing but integration of f dx from the starting limit x1 to the final limit x2. Here force is given as it is cx dx from the limit 0 to x1, 0 to x1. So if I integrate this, c is constant, so it is x square divided by 2 between the limit 0 and x1. And that's why I'm going to get c by 2 into x1 square is the work done. So I'll go for option B. Question number 12. A block is acted upon by a force which is inversely proportional to the distance covered. The work done will be proportional to. We know that work done is nothing but force into displacement, and say displacement is x. And in the problem it is given the force is inversely proportional to x. So F is equal to 1 by x into x. So it cancels. So work done will be equal to, or work done will be proportional to x to power 0. And so I'll go for none of this, option D. Question number 13. A small body is projected in a direction inclined at 45 degrees to the horizontal with kinetic energy K. At the top of its flight, its kinetic energy will be. Body is projected at an angle of 45 degrees to the horizontal with kinetic energy K. Suppose if V is the velocity of projection, initial kinetic energy is half mv square. And at the top of its flight, its velocity will be V cos theta we know. So V cos 45, and so at the topmost point, velocity is V by root 2. V by root 2, cos 45 is 1 by root 2. And so kinetic energy at that point is half into m, velocity is V by root 2 whole square I can write. So it becomes half mv square into half I can write, so that kinetic energy at that point is kinetic energy at the beginning divided by 2. So I'll go for our option B. Question number 14. A cord is used to lower vertically a block of mass m through a distance d at a constant downward acceleration of g by 8. Then the work done by the cord on the block is. Block of mass m is suspended by means of a cord, and so its weight will be acting downward and balanced by the tension, and this is made to fall through an acceleration of g by 8 downward, and that's why tension will be equal to m into g minus g by 8. So I am going to get m into it is 7 by 8 into g I am going to get. And since it is moved through a distance d, I can write work done by the tension is equal to tension into d I can write, so that it is 7 by 8 mg into d. But it is moved, displacement is downward, tension is acting upward, and that's why I should give a negative sign here. So cos 180 is minus 1. So I'm going to get option D. Question number 15. Consider the following statement. Linear momentum of a system of particle is 0. Second statement is kinetic energy of a system of particle is 0. Then we have to go for the following option. See, suppose if you consider a system, then I can say a particular body has some kinetic energy and its momentum is in this direction, and one more particle has kinetic energy and its momentum is acting in the opposite direction. Then since they are vectors, they cancel each other. This shows that momentum can be 0, but kinetic energy cannot be 0. And so the linear momentum of a system of particle is 0. That does not mean that the kinetic energy of the system of particle is 0. But if the kinetic energy of the particle is 0, definitely momentum also will be 0. So I'll go for option B. That is, first does not imply second, but second implies first. Question number 16. A ball is dropped from a height h. If the coefficient of restitution be E, then to what height will it rise after jumping twice from the ground? We know that height to which the ball will rebound, suppose say hn after n pitches, will be equal to initial height into e to power 2n, where e is a coefficient of restitution we'll call. So this is the height to which it rises after nth jump. But in this problem it is given after 2 jumps twice. So I can write h2 will be equal to h into e to power 2 into 2 I can write. So H2 will be equal to H into e to power 4. So I'll go for the option D. Question number 17. A ball of mass m moving with a constant velocity strike against a ball of same mass at rest. If E is a coefficient of restitution, then what will be the ratio of velocity of two balls after collision? See, the first mass m, second mass is also m, it is given, and first mass is moving with certain velocity, initial velocity say u1, second mass is at rest, so u2 is equal to 0, it is given. And if v1 and v2 are the velocities of the balls after collision, then I want to find out what is the ratio of v1 by v2. So if I go for conservation of momentum, momentum initially is m into u1 plus the second momentum is 0, m into u2 is 0, is equal to m into v1 after the collision plus m into v2 I can write. And so m cancels right through. I am going to get u1 is equal to v1 plus v2. And we want to find out what is the coefficient, coefficient of restitution is given. I want to find out what is v1 by v2 I want to find. But coefficient of restitution is nothing but the velocity of separation after collision, v2 minus v1, and velocity of approach before collision, that is u1 minus u2. And so E is equal to v2 minus v1 by u2 anyhow 0, u1 is v1 plus v2. If you cross multiply, I am going to get E into v1 plus E into v2 is equal to v2 minus v1. So let me take v2 this side and shift v1 that side. So I'll get E into v1 plus v1 is equal to v2 minus E v2 I'm going to get. So you take out v1 out, so I'll get E plus 1, and you take out v2 here, 1 minus E I'm going to get. I want to find out what is v1 by v2, and that is nothing but 1 minus E divided by 1 plus E. So I'm going to go for the option A. Question number 18. A crane is used to lift 1000 kg of coal from a mine 100 meter deep. The time taken by the crane is 1 hour. The efficiency of the crane is 80%. If G is equal to 10 meter per second square, then the power of the crane is. So actually, whatever the work done by the crane is nothing but output from the crane. That is nothing but m into G into H divided by the time. M it is given, it is 1000 kg, G is 10, and it has to lift from 100 meter deep divided by, in 1 hour it is given. So it is 3600 I can write. And so the output power from the crane is, I can write it as 10 to power 6 divided by 3.6 into 10 to power 2. I'll write it like this. And also efficiency is equal to output power divided by input power I can write. I want to find out what is this input power given to the crane. So that will be output power of the crane divided by efficiency I can write. So output we got 10 to power 6 divided by 3.6 into 10 to power 2, and efficiency is given as 80% means 0.8. So this is what is the input given to the crane itself. So I can write this as 10 to power 6, and this I will write it as 8 into 10 to power 1 I will write. So 10 to power 6 divided by 3.6 into 8 into 10 to power 1 I can write. So if I take 10 to power 1 to the numerator, it becomes 10 to power 5 divided by 3.6 into 8 watt. So I'll go for option D. Question number 19. In figure, a carriage P is pulled up from A to B. The relevant coefficient of friction is 0.4. The work done will be. So this is the wedge given, and weight has to be lifted from point A to B. Point A to B, you have to move this. And so this force against which you have to work is mg sin theta is 1. And also, since it is moved upward, frictional force will be acting downward. So I can say this is a frictional force. This is frictional force. So you have to work against these two forces. And so I can write the distances are also mentioned. This is given as 30 meter. And this is given as 50 meter. And so if you use Pythagoras theorem, I am going to get this is 40 meter I can write. And this weight is given as, mass is given as 50 kg, it is given. And so the amount of work to be done in order to move this from A to B is, this distance to be traveled is 50 meter, and the force against which we have to work is mg sin theta plus the frictional force. And that's why work done is nothing but mg sin theta plus frictional force, this into a distance AB. And so I can write this as mg sin theta, frictional force we know that it is mg cos theta into mu s into mg cos theta I can write. And of course both of them are acting in the same direction, so you have to add it, this into distance AB. And so I can take out mg, and inside I have sin theta from the triangle, opposite side by hypotenuse is sin theta, so it becomes 3 by 5 plus frictional coefficient is given as 0.4 and cos theta is 4 divided by 5, and this into AB is 50 meter. And mg you substitute the value, this is 50 into g is 500, this into 50, and then I'll take common denominator 5, so I'll get 4.4, it is 0.16 you'll get, so it is 3 plus 1.6, 4.6 you are going to get. And so if you simplify, then I'm going to get, this will be 23 kilojoules you are going to get. This is the amount of work to be done, so I'll go for option B. Question number 20. A body of mass m moving with velocity v makes a head-on elastic collision with another body of mass 2m, which is initially at rest. The loss of kinetic energy of the colliding body is. In fact, it is a elastic collision. There is no loss in fact, but whenever one gets collided with the other, energy will be transferred from the first body to the second body, and that energy transfer can be obtained by the formula 4 into m1 into m2 divided by m1 plus m2 whole square is the energy transfer from first body to second body. So it is 4 into m1 is m, m2 is given as 2m, so m1 plus m2 it is 3m whole square I can write. So it becomes 4 into 2m square divided by 9m square I can write. So that m square cancels, you are going to get 8 by 9. So energy transfer from first body to second body is 8 by 9 of its initial kinetic energy. So I'll go for option C. Question number 21. In the non-relativistic regime, if the momentum is increased by 100%, the percentage increase in the kinetic energy is. So we are increasing the momentum by 100% means second momentum will be 2 times the first momentum I can write. I want to find out what is the percentage increase in kinetic energy. Percentage increase in energy will be final kinetic energy minus initial kinetic energy by initial kinetic energy into 100. This is what is the percentage increase we will calculate. And so we already know that the kinetic energy will be equal to P square divided by 2m, and so kinetic energy is proportional to P square I can write. So that the kinetic energy 1 will be equal to, it is P1 square I can write. Kinetic energy 2 will be equal to 2 times that, so it becomes 4P1 square I can write. So substitute it here, you will get K2 is 4 T1 square minus K1 is P1 square divided by P1 square into 100 I can write. So it becomes 4 minus 1, P1 square cancels, so I'll get 4 minus 1, 3. So you are going to get 300%. So I'll go for the option C. Question number 22. A body is dropped from height 20 meter and rebounds to a height of 10 meter. The loss of energy is. Of course, in this problem, initial height is 20 meter and next height raised is 10 meter. That directly I can say that 50% of energy is lost. So straight away I can go for option C. But actually if you want to find out percentage, then I can write mgh2 is mgh1 is the initial potential energy. mgh2 is the potential energy in the second pitch divided by mgh1 I can write. So mg cancels right through, h1 minus h2 divided by h1 into 100 I can write. So h1 is 20 minus h2 is 10 divided by 10 into 100. So it becomes 20 minus 10, it is 10. 10 by 20, and that becomes half into 100. So it is 50%. It is 50%. So I'll go for option C. Question number 23. Figure here shows the frictional force versus displacement of a particle in motion. The loss of kinetic energy in traveling over a distance of 0 to 20 meter will be. So the graph is given. It is F frictional force into displacement. If you want to find the work done, you just find the area under that particular graph, because work done is nothing but force into distance, frictional force. So this is what is the work done. So there are two triangles and then one square, one rectangle and one more square. So you find the area of those, add it, you are going to get 250 joules. So this will be the work done by the frictional force. So I'll go for option A. Question number 24. Hailstorms are observed to strike the surface of the frozen lake at 30 degree with the vertical and rebound at 60 degree with the vertical. Assume the contact to be smooth. The coefficient of restitution is. Here, this is the frozen lake. If I consider frozen lake, this hailstorms will be inclined at some 30 degree with the vertical. It strikes like this. This is with 30 degree like this. And initial velocity of this I can write u1. And since it is the frozen lake, initial velocity of that is 0. And then it rebounds at 60 degree with the vertical. That means it will go like this. This is 60 degree. This I can write it as v1. And anyhow, second velocity of this frozen lake, it is 0 itself. Here the rebound takes place in the vertical direction only. That means you find out vertical component of u1. So that becomes u1 into cos 30. u1 into cos 30, and it rebounds back, and you find out what is the vertical component of v1. So I am going to get this is v1 into cos 60 I can write. Horizontal component will not produce any collision. That's why I can say E will be equal to the final, that is v1 cos 60 divided by u1 cos 30 I can write. But I can write v1 cos 60 is half divided by u1 cos 30 is root 3 divided by 2. And so I am going to get restitution coefficient is v1 divided by root 3 into u1. Root 3 into u1. But v1 and u1, you produce v1 in terms of u1. For that, horizontal component of the velocities are same. That's why I can write u1 sin 30 is equal to v1 sin 60 I can write, sin 60 I can write, and that's why v1 is u1 into sin 30 is half divided by sin 60 is root 3 divided by 2. And that's why 2 cancels. v1 is equal to u1 divided by root 3. And so I'll substitute it here. So it is u1 divided by root 3 is v1 into root 3 into u1. So this u1 cancels, 1 by root 3 into root 3 is 3. So E is equal to 1 by 3. I'll go for the option B. Go for option B. Question number 25. The potential energy of a conservative system is given by U is equal to A y square minus B y, where y represents the position of the particle and A as well as B are constant. What is the force acting on the system? In the problem, it is given that potential energy is A y square minus B y, it is given. And I want to find out what is the force acting. And we know that force will be equal to minus du divided by dy, I can write. So you just differentiate this, you are going to get the potential energy. So sorry, force. So minus, differentiate that, I am going to get A into 2y minus B. And so if you simplify, I am going to get it is B minus 2 into A into y. So this is what is the value of force. So I'll go for option D. Question number 26. An automobile engine of mass m accelerates and a constant power P is applied by the engine. The instantaneous speed of the engine will be. We know that the power developed is nothing but force into velocity. In fact, it is dot product of force and velocity. And force, I can write it as by Newton's second law, m into A into V. This is P, I can write. So m into V into acceleration is nothing but dV divided by dt. The rate of change of velocity is nothing but acceleration. So this is equal to P. So take this dt left side. So P dt divided by m is equal to V into dV, I can write. I want to find out what is the instantaneous velocity, and that's why let us integrate both sides. Let us integrate both sides. I am going to get integration of this and you integrate both sides. I am going to get P by m, integration of dt is a t, that is equal to integration of v is v square divided by 2. And so if you cross multiply, 2pt divided by m under root will be the value of instantaneous velocity. So I'll go for option B. Question number 27. A particle initially at rest on a frictionless horizontal surface is acted upon by a horizontal force which is constant in magnitude and direction. A graph is plotted of work done on the particle W against the speed of particle V. If there are no other horizontal forces acting on the particle, the graph would look like. Of course, I can write work done is nothing but force into displacement. Force into displacement. This can be understood by dimensional analysis. So let us try to find out what is the dimension of this W. I am going to get mass, it is m. Acceleration is meter per second square. L t to power minus 2 I can write, and L t to power 2, and distance is L itself. So I am going to get W is equal to m into, it is L square divided by, or t to power minus 2 I can write. This is nothing but the dimension of the velocity, and that is why I can write W is equal to, or W proportional to, it is a velocity square I can write. So this graph will be like a parabola. So I'll go for the option C. In fact, it is given half parabola. You can extend it to other side also. So this will look like a parabola, equation of parabola. So I'll go for option C. Question number 28. A particle of mass m moving eastward with a speed v collides with another particle of same mass moving northward with the same speed. If two particles coalesce on collision, the new particle of mass 2m will move in the northeast direction with a velocity. Here direction is also mentioned. That is why initially first mass m is moving with the velocity v towards east, it is given is the velocity v. Another mass, that mass is also same, but it is moving towards northwards. So this is moving towards the northwards. Mass is m and the velocity is v. They will coalesce, that means they will join together, and mass is 2m. and this will move with the common velocity. So it is an example of the perfectly inelastic collision, and it will move with the common velocity, and we want to find out what is that velocity is. So again, I'll go for the conservation of momentum principle. Momentum initial is equal to momentum final. Momentum initial, I can say this is P1 is equal to P2 is equal to m into v, I can write. But these two are acting at an angle of 90 degree, and that's why the net momentum will be equal to square root of P1 square plus P2 square, and cos 90 becomes a 0, third term will not be there, and that's why I can write this is it is mv square plus mv square, and so this is 2 into mv square under root, so it becomes root 2 into mv. This is the net momentum before, and so this must be equal to momentum after. So root 2 into mv. After collision, they will coalesce, means mass is m plus m, 2m, and they will move with a common velocity v dash. I want to find out what is v dash is. So this m and m cancel. V dash will be is equal to root 2 into v divided by 2. So v dash will be is equal to v divided by root 2. So I'll go for the option C. Question number 29. A small block of mass m is kept on a rough inclined surface of inclination theta fixed in an elevator. The elevator goes up with a uniform velocity v, and block does not slide the wedge. The work done by the force of friction on the block in time t as seen by the observer on the inclined lane will be. See here, the idea is, it is very clearly given the elevator goes up with a uniform velocity. That means there is no question of acceleration. Since it is moving with a uniform velocity, the net force will be equal to, or I can say force is 0, so work done will be 0. So I'll go for option A. Question number 30. Two masses m1 and m2 moving with velocities VA and VB in opposite direction collide elastically, and after the collision m1 and m2 with velocities VB and VA respectively, then the ratio of m1 by m2 is. See, this is an elastic collision, and it is very clear in the problem that the velocities are exchanged after the collision. This is possible if and only if m1 is equal to m2 itself. Then only the velocity will be exchanged during that elastic collision. That's why m1 is equal to m2 means m1 by m2 will be equal to 1. So I'll go for option C. Question number 31. Two blocks of masses 10 kg and 4 kg are connected by a spring of negligible mass and placed on a frictionless horizontal surface. An impulse gives a velocity of 14 meters per second to the heavier block in direction of the lighter block. The velocity of the center of mass is. You have a heavier mass and a lighter mass connected by a spring like this. This is 10 kg and this is 4 kg. And an impulse is given to a heavier block so that its velocity will be 14 meters per second. And I want to find out what is the velocity of the center of mass, and we know that velocity of the center of mass will be equal to m1 v1 plus m2 v2 divided by m1 plus m2. Here I can assume that second velocity is 0, and so velocity of center of mass will be equal to, it is 10 into 14, second mass anyhow 0, divided by 10 plus 4. That's why it is 140 divided by 14. So velocity will be 10 meter per second. So I'll go for option C. Question number 32. A motor drives a body along a straight line with a constant force. The power developed by the motor must vary with time. We know that power is equal to force into velocity. Suppose if it starts from initial velocity 0, say, then I can say constant force is there. That's why power is equal to F. Initial velocity is 0, so V0 plus AT. So V0 is 0. That's why P is equal to this. And since force is constant, I can say power is proportional to T. and that's why you are going to get a 45-degree line, a uniform relation. So I'll go for option D. Question number 33. The force F acting on a body moving in a circle of radius r is always perpendicular to the instantaneous velocity. The work done by the force on the body in half rotation is. So it is circular motion, and this force is acting, that is nothing but centripetal force acting towards the center, and the velocity will be in this direction, and we know that the perpendicular forces will not do any work. That is why I am going to get 0, that is option D. Question number 34. The negative of the distance rate of change of potential energy is equal to. So already we know that this conservative force is equal to minus du divided by dx itself. That's why it is force acting on the particle in the direction of the displacement will be the negative distance change of potential energy. So I'll go for option A. So at this particular point, the energy is purely potential energy, and so kinetic energy at this point is 0. And at this point also kinetic energy is 0, and kinetic energy at point B is maximum. And so I can say this is frictional track, so some energy will be lost during this process, and so the ball cannot go to the same height as before because of the loss of energy. And that's why I can say HA should be greater than HC. That is one condition. And also kinetic energy at this point will be greater than the kinetic energy at this point. So I can write KB is greater than Ka, and that's why I'll go for option D. Question number 36. If V be the instantaneous velocity of the body dropped from the top of a tower, when it is located at height h, then which of the following remains a constant? Of course, we know that this kinetic energy plus potential energy will remain a constant, and we know that kinetic energy is half mv square. Potential energy is mgh. This should remain a constant. So I can take out m, if I take out v square by 2 plus g into h should remain a constant. So I'll go for option B. V square by 2 plus gh should remain a constant. Options B. Question number 37. In a simple pendulum of length L, the bob is pulled aside from its equilibrium position through an angle theta and then released. The bob passes through the equilibrium position with speed. See, this is the bob. This is a bob. Initially it was in this position, equilibrium position say. Then it is pulled aside. It is pulled to this side. So this is pulled like this say. Then I can say here energy was purely kinetic. Here the energy is purely potential. Suppose say this height is h and the length of this is L. Length of this is L say, and this length is, suppose say this angle is theta, then I can say the opposite side divided by adjacent side. So this length will be L cos theta. This length will be L cos theta. And so h is equal to L minus L cos theta I can write, or h is equal to L into 1 minus cos theta I can write. So I can say in this, if you drop this, the potential energy will be converted into kinetic energy. So I can equate the kinetic energy to potential energy. Half mv square is equal to m into g into h. So m cancels, and so I'm going to get velocity will be square root of 2g into h. Substitute the value of h we got, so velocity will be square root of 2g. h is L into 1 minus cos theta. So I'll go for option D. Question number 38. A stationary particle explodes into two particles of masses m1 and m2 which move in opposite direction with velocities v1 and v2. Ratio of their kinetic energies E1 by E2 is. Of course, this is a stationary particle. this suppose say mass m and its velocity initially it is at rest, it is given. It explodes into 2 and in opposite direction. Suppose say this is m1 and its velocity is v1 and this mass is m2. It's moving with velocity v2. Then by the law of conservation of the momentum, I can write initial momentum is 0. This will be equal to m1 m2 v2 minus m1 v1 is the final momentum, and so I can write m1 v1 is equal to m2 v2, and this is the first condition we have. I want to find out the ratio of kinetic energies. So kinetic energy ratio E1 by E2 is equal to, it is half m1 v1 square divided by half m2 v2 square I can write. So this half cancels. From this I can write the value of v1 by v2 will be equal to m2 divided by m1 I can write. So this will be equal to m1 by m2 into v1 by v2 square means m2 square divided by m1 square. So 1 m1 and 1 m2 cancels. You will get E1 by E2 will be equal to m2 divided by m1. So I will go for the option B. 39. An explosion breaks a rock into 3 parts in a horizontal plane. 2 of them go off at right angles to each other. The first part of mass 1 kg moves with a speed of 12 meter per second, and the second part of mass 2 kg moves with a speed of 8 meter per second. If the third part flies off with a speed of 4 meter per second, then its mass is. Initially, this body, it is at rest. Initial velocity is 0. It explodes into 3 pieces. 2 of them will go perpendicular to each other, it is given. Suppose say this is m1 and moving with velocity v1, and this one is moving m2 and moving with velocity v2 say. So this is p1 and this is p2. They are the momentum of the 2 particles, and then I can say first I'll find out what is p1 and p2. p1 is equal to 1 into 12, so it is 12 kg meter per second, and p2 it is 2 into 8. This is 16 kg meter per second. Let us first find out what is the resultant of these 2. Let me call that as P dash say. Then I can say P dash will be equal to square root of P1 square plus P2 square. Since the angle between them is 90 degree, third term vanishes. And so I can write P1 square, that is 12 square is 144, plus P2 square, it is 256. 256 plus 144, 400 under root, it becomes 20 kg meter per second is the net momentum. But in the problem it is given the third part flies off with the speed 4 meter per second, and in fact initial momentum is 0, so final momentum also must be 0. For the final momentum to be 0, the third one should fly in the opposite direction of this resultant P dash. So it should be, its value should be equal to P1 and it should be acting in the opposite direction, so that the final momentum is also 0. That is why I can write P3 is equal to P dash magnitude wise. P3 is nothing but M3 into V3 is equal to P dash, we got 20, already we have calculated, and velocity 3 is given, so M3 into velocity 3 is given as 4, and that is equal to 20. So 20 by 4 is 5, so third mass must be having 5 kg, and so I will go for option A. Question number 40. If the kinetic energy of a body is increased by 300%, the momentum of the body is increased by. Kinetic energy is increased by 300% means K2 is equal to 300 plus 100, 400%. So K2 is equal to 4 into K1 I can write. I want to find out what is the percentage change in momentum, and we know that momentum is equal to square root of 2mk I can write, and that's why P2 by P1 is equal to square root of it is K2 divided by K1 I can write. So K2 by K1 is 4. So P2 by P1 or P2 is equal to P1 into square root of 4, or it is P2 is equal to 2P1 I can write. 2P1 I can write. So if you want to find out the percentage change, then this will be equal to P2 minus P1 divided by P1 into 100 I can write. P2 is 2P1 minus P1 by P1 into 100 is the percentage change in the momentum. So I am going to get 2 minus 1 by P1 cancels. So percentage change will be 100. Percentage change will be 100. So I'll go for option C. Question number 41. During inelastic collision between two objects, which of the following quantity always remains conserved? Whatever be the collision, whether it is elastic, inelastic, perfectly inelastic, total linear momentum will remain constant. So I'll go for option D. Question number 42. It is a force of F is equal to 20 plus 10y acts on a particle in y direction, where F is the force in Newton and y is in meter. Work done by this force to move the particle from y is equal to 0 to y is equal to 1 meter is. And of course we know that work done is nothing but integration of force into dx. Already we know, but function is given in terms of y. In place of dx I should write dy here, and that's why work done is equal to integration of 20 plus 10y between the limits 0 and 1. So let me integrate this. So I am going to get 20y plus 10y square divided by 2 between the limits 0 and 1. So this will be 20y is 1 plus this is 5y square is 1 square. So I am going to get 25 joule is the work done. So I will go for option C. Question number 43. A moving block having mass m collides with another stationary block having mass 4m. The lighter block comes to rest after collision. When the initial velocity of the block is v, then the value of coefficient of restitution will be. This is having mass m and it is moving with velocity v. It collides with a mass of 4m and this is at rest. So I can write initial velocity before collision is v. Initial velocity of this is 0, it is given. The lighter block comes to rest after collision, it is given. That means v1 is equal to 0. And I want to find out what is v2, you find out first, because coefficient of restitution is v2 minus v1 divided by u1 minus u2 is expression. So you go for conservation of momentum principle. Initial momentum is u1 is actually v, mass into v, second mass anyhow is at rest, is equal to, and it is I can write like this, m1 u1 plus m2 u2 is equal to m1 v1 plus m2 v2 I can write. But u2 is 0, v1 is also 0. So I can write m into u1 is given as v and this is equal to m2. m2 is given as 4m. So 4m into v2 I can write. v2 I can write. So m cancels. So I'm going to get v2 is equal to v divided by 4. So let me substitute it here in this equation. v2 is v by 4 minus v1 is initial velocity, it is 0, it is given, divided by u1 is v, it is given, minus u2 is 0. So that's why v cancels, it becomes 1 by 4 or it is 0.25. So I'll go for option B. I'll go for option B. Question number 44. Consider a drop of rain water having mass 1 gram falling from height 1 kilometer. It hits the ground with a speed of 50 meter per second. Take g 10 meter per second square. Work done by the gravitational force and the resistive force of air is. Work done by the gravitational force means it is nothing but m into g into h. Mass is given as 1 gram, 10 to the power minus 3 kg. G is a 10 and h is given as a 1 kilometer, so it is a 10 to the power 3 meter. So I am going to get work done by the gravitational force will be it is 10 joules. 10 joules. So we can just observe in all the answers given, 10 joules is there only in option D. So straight away I can go for that. But we can find out what is the work done by the resistive force also, because the final velocity is given. And so total work done, that is work done by the gravity plus work done by the resistive force, is equal to change in the kinetic energy. So it hits the ground with the velocity 50 meter per second is given. So this is equal to half mv square, and initial velocity, it is 0 itself. So this is 10 joule plus resistive force work done will be equal to half mass is 1 gram 10 to the power minus 3 and velocity is 50 meter per second, it is given 50 square I can write. 50 square I can write. So I am going to get WR is equal to, this is a 2500, 2.5 into 10 to the power 3 and 10 to the power minus 3 cancels. So 2.5 by 1 by 2, that means it is a 1.25 you are going to get. Take 10 this side, minus 10. So this will give you minus 8.75 joules is the work done by the other resistive force. So I'll go for option D. I'll go for option D. Question number 45. Two identical balls A and B having velocities of 0.5 meter per second and minus 0.3 meter per second respectively collide elastically in one dimension. The velocities of B and A after collision respectively. See, it is very clearly given. Two identical balls means the mass of A will be equal to mass of B. And so, if they meet elastically, then the velocities will be exchanged. Initially, velocity of A is 0.5 meter per second and velocity of B initially it is minus 0.3 meter per second. I want to find out velocities of B and A after collision. So velocity of B becomes 0.5 meter per second and velocity of A becomes minus 0.3 meter per second. This is the velocity of A and this is the velocity of B after collision. So I'll go for option B. Question number 46. A particle moves from a point minus 2 I cap 5 j cap to 4 j cap plus 3 k cap when a constant force of 4 I cap plus 3 j cap Newton is applied. How much work has to be done by the force? So we know that work done will be equal to dot product of force and the displacement vector. Here it is R2 minus R1 I can write. Force it is given. Force is given as 4 I cap plus 3 j cap. 4 I cap plus 3 j cap and dot R2 minus R1 you take. R2 minus R1 will be equal to, it is R2 is 4 j cap plus 3 k cap it is given. 4 j cap plus 3 k cap and initial position is minus 2 I cap plus 5 j cap plus 5 j cap. So this minus this minus this I have to take. So I'll get what? It is plus 2 I cap and then 5 j cap, 4 j cap minus 5 j cap is minus j cap and 3 k cap nothing is there, so it is plus 3 k cap. This is what is R2 minus R1. Let me substitute it here. So I'll get 2 I cap minus j cap plus 3 k cap I can write. Then take the dot product of that, 4 into 2. So this becomes W will be equal to 4 into 2, 8. 3 into minus, it is minus 3 and k factor is not there. So I'll go for, this is 8 minus 3, work done is 5 joule. So I'll go for option C. Question number 47. A body of mass 1 kg begins to move under the action of time dependent force F is equal to 2 T I cap plus 3t square j cap Newton, where I and j are unit vectors along x and y axis. What power will be developed by the force at the time t? So we know that power is equal to F dot V. F dot V. F vector is given. Somehow I have to find out what is this V vector is. For that, I have vector F is equal to, it is 2t into I cap plus 3t square j cap it is given. 3t square j cap it is given. What I'll write is, according to second law, F is equal to mass into acceleration. Mass into acceleration, I can write it as dv divided by dt I can write. And so dv divided by dt is equal to F divided by m I can write. I want v. That is why you integrate this equation. So integration of this, I am going to get v. And so integration of F by m. But mass anyhow it is given as 1. So you integrate this equation, and force equation already we have 2t I cap plus 3t square j cap. 3t square j cap it is given. You integrate this equation with respect to t, and mass anyhow 1. So if I integrate, I am going to get v is equal to 2t square by 2 I cap plus 3t cube by 3 j cap I am going to get. So velocity will be equal to t square I cap plus t cube j cap we have. And so if I substitute this here, force vector is 2t I cap plus 3t square j cap is force vector dot the velocity vector is t square I cap plus t cube j cap we have. And so I'll get P is equal to 2t into t square. It is 2t cube plus I cap becomes 1. 3t square into t cube, it becomes 3t to power 5 watt. So I'll go for option D. Question number 48. The heart of a man pumps 5 liters of blood through the arteries per minute at a pressure of 150 millimeter of mercury. If the density of mercury is 13.6 into 10 to power 3 kg per meter cube and G is equal to 10 meter per second square, the power of heart in watt is. In fact, power we know, it is force into velocity. Also, pressure is equal to force divided by area. And so I can substitute force is equal to pressure into area I can substitute. So I'll substitute it here. I'm going to get the power. Power is equal to, it is pressure into area is force into velocity I can write. And also we know that from the fluid mechanics, the pressure is equal to rho into G into H and area into velocity I can write. This area into velocity, if you substitute the unit, you are going to get a meter cube per second I am going to get. That means this area into velocity gives you amount of liquid in meter cube per second you are going to get. It pumps 5 liters of blood through the arteries per minute it is given. So that is nothing but AV. So that I will call it as simply as M I will call. So M is equal to 5 liters. 1 liter means 10 to power minus 3 meter cube. And it is given 5 liters of blood through arteries per minute it is given. So you divide it by 60. This is what is M. Value of rho, it is given 13.6 into 10 to power 3, G 10, and height, mercury height, it is given 150 millimeter. Straight away I will substitute it here. So then I am going to get what is the power of the heart. So I will get rho is given as 13.6 into 10 to power 3, G is 10, height is given as 150 millimeter, multiply that by 10 to power minus 3 to convert that into meter, and the value of M is 5 into 10 to power minus 3 divided by 60. So if you find out, this will be the heart power. So power of the heart, if you calculate, you are going to get 1.7 watt. So I'll go for option B. Question number 49. A block of mass m lying on a smooth horizontal surface is attached to a spring of negligible mass and spring constant k. The other end of the spring is fixed. The block is initially at rest in its equilibrium position. If now the block is pulled with a force F, the maximum speed of the block is. Condition is like this. You have a block connected to a spring. Other end of the spring is connected to fixed point. It is placed like this. Mass of the block is given as m. Mass of the block is given as m. This spring constant k it is given. Now it is pulled towards left side with a force F, and I want to find out what is the maximum speed of this block. I want to find. Use work energy theorem. So I can say work done by this, when it is pulled towards left side by distance x, say, work done by this, work done is equal to change in kinetic energy, I can write. Work done by this force is F into x, I will write. And work done by the spring will be minus half k into x square, I can write. And this will be equal to, initially the kinetic energy is half mv square, and when it is pulled to such that find maximum speed of the block I want to find out. Initially it was at rest, so half mv square minus initial kinetic energy is 0. So you try to solve this. Now actually answers are given in terms of F and m. That means it is not having any x term. Also we know that spring force is equal to k into x, we know. From this you substitute x is equal to F by k in the equation. So I am going to get F into x is F by k minus half k into x square means F square divided by k square is equal to half mv square, I can write. So this 1k cancel, this becomes F square by k minus F square by 2k is equal to half mv square, I can write. So this is F square by k minus F square by 2k will give you F square by 2k is equal to half mv square you are going to get. So this 2 cancel, and so v square will be equal to F square divided by mk. From this v will be equal to root of that, so F divided by root of mk. So I'll go for option C. Question number 50. 3 blocks A, B, C are lying on a smooth horizontal surface. A and B have equal masses m, while C has mass m. Block A is given a brutal speed v towards B, to which it collides with B perfectly inelastically. The combined mass collides with C also perfectly inelastically. 5/6 of the initial kinetic energy is lost in the whole process. What is the value of m by m? Condition is like this. This mass m and another mass m. So this is A and this is B, and third mass C is 2m it is given. This is mass C, and this collides perfectly inelastically with this. This collides perfectly inelastically with this, during which the energy lost is 5/6 of the initial kinetic energy. Suppose say initially this is given a velocity v, say. Then I can say initial momentum is what? This body is at rest. So initial momentum is m into v. Initial momentum is m into v. And final momentum will be these two bodies stick to each other. And so m plus m it becomes 2m. And this velocity is say some v dash. So from this I can write mm cancels. V dash will be equal to v divided by 2. Now let us find out what is the energy lost during this particular process. And energy loss, I'll write U, I can write it as loss 1. Loss 1. This will be equal to half m into, I can say it is a m1 m2 divided by m1 plus m2 into u1 square, or in this case it is a v square. So v square I will write. So if you substitute, loss 1 will be half m1 m2 both are m, so it becomes a m square divided by m1 plus m2, it becomes a 2m. so that m cancels, you are going to get m divided by 4. M divided by 4 is the loss 1. Oh, sorry, into v square is also there with that. So mv square by 4 is the first loss. Thereafter, now the mass is 2m, m plus m 2m, and it collides perfectly inelastically with this, and that's why you proceed as before and try to find out what is the final velocity. So I can write it as initial mass is 2m, and this body is moving with the velocity v dash, already we have calculated, and so this will be equal to, this mass is given as, sorry, it's not 2m, it is given as capital M, it is given, capital M it is given. So 2m into v dash is equal to, it is capital M plus 2m, they will stick together, they will move with a constant velocity v double dash, I can write. So of course, using this, you can find out what is v double dash, but it is not required here, because second loss, if you want to find out between the collision between this B and C, this will be equal to, again, half m1 m2 divided by m1 plus m2 into velocity of combined mass is v dash, I have calculated. So you have to substitute v dash square, we have to substitute. So L2 will be equal to half, m1 is 2m, m2 is capital M. So it becomes 2m plus capital M, into capital M divided by 2m plus capital M, I can write. And this into v dash, already we have calculated, it is v by 2, so it is v square by 4, I can write. So you will get L2 will be equal to, this half and half cancels, 2 cancels, it becomes mv square by 4, I'll take separately, mv square by 4, and remaining thing is what? Capital M divided by 2m plus m, I can write. M v square by 4 and m by 2m plus m is remaining. So total loss is equal to first loss and plus second loss, I can write. But in the problem it is given total loss given as 5/6 of the initial kinetic energy. Initial kinetic energy is half m into v square itself. So 5/6 of half mv square is the total loss. This is equal to loss 1 plus loss 2, mv square by 4 common, I will take it out, mv square by 4 into, this is 1 plus m divided by 2m plus m, I can write. Okay, so this mv square cancels, and you will get 5 by 12. 5 by 12 is equal to 1 by 4 into, it is 2m plus m divided by 2m plus m, I am going to get. So if you simplify this, so I am going to get, so this goes 3 times, 4 threes. So what's remaining? Remaining thing is on the left side, it is 5 divided by 3 is remaining. On the right side you have, it is 2m plus 2 capital M divided by 2m plus m is remaining, right? So if you cross multiply, you are going to get 10m plus 5m is equal to 6m plus 6 capital M, I can write. You take 5m this side, you are going to get 6m minus 5m, you will get m. You take 6m this side, 10 minus 6, 4m you are going to get. And I want to find out what is capital M by small m. What is capital M by small m? So capital M by small m will be equal to 4. So I'll go for option A. Question number 51. A force acts on a 2 kg object so that its position is given by a time function x is equal to 3t square plus 5. What is the work done by this force in first 5 seconds? So here x is given as 3t square plus 5. It is a function of time, it is given. I want to find out what is the work done. So if you want to find out the work done, it is nothing but change in the kinetic energy. So I can write this as a K2 minus a K1. For that I have to find out what is the velocity. So I can differentiate this once. So dx divided by dt is nothing but velocity. So if I differentiate that, I am going to get 60. So put t is equal to 0, you are going to get v1 is equal to 0. And put t is equal to 5 seconds and you are going to get v1 is equal to 30 meter per second you are going to get. So that is why work done is equal to half into mass into v2 square minus v1 square I can write. Mass is 2 kg, it is given half into 2, v2 square means 30 square is 900 minus v1 square is anyhow 0. That is why this 2 cancel, work done will be 900 joule. So I'll go for option B. Question number 52. A particle which is experiencing a force of F is equal to 3 I cap minus 12 j cap undergoes a displacement of d equal to 4 I cap. If the particle had a kinetic energy of 3 joules at the beginning of the displacement, what is the kinetic energy at the end of the displacement? So once again, this is also, question number 52 is also work done is equal to change in the kinetic energy. And work done is nothing but F dot D, and this is equal to change in the kinetic energy is K2 minus K1 I can write. F dot B, it is 3I cap minus 12J cap is F, and the displacement is 4I cap is equal to K2 I want to find out, K1 is given as 3 joule. So if you take the dot product, so it becomes 12 is equal to K2 minus 3 I can write. So I'll get K2 will be equal to 15 joule you are going to get. So I'll go for the option A. So I want to find out what is the work done by the normal reaction. So from this diagram I can write net force is N minus mg is equal to, it is moving upwards with the acceleration g by 2, so m into g by 2. So from this get the value of normal reaction, mg you take this side, mg plus mg by 2, so normal reaction becomes a 3 by 2 mg. And so work done by normal reaction, if I want to find out normal reaction into the displacement x. But we know x is equal to v naught t plus half gt square. V naught initial velocity is 0, that's why x is half gt square. So if you substitute it here, I'm going to get work done by the normal reaction is 3 by 4 mg square t square. So I'll go for option D.